Hi, I'm Diane Dayton, backstage at Berks, catching up with artists scheduled to appear at the 35th annual Boscov's Berks Jazz Fest. Find out about their shows and what's going on in their lives. And if you like this cast, please share it. Thanks for joining me. Hi, I'm Diane Dayton with Backstage at Berks, the 35th annual Boscov's Berks Jazz Fest, Reading, Pennsylvania. It's March 19th through the 29th, 2026. Catching up right now with pianist, composer, arranger, David Benoit. How are you, David?
I'm good. How are you, Diane?
I'm doing really well. I'm so looking forward to hearing you perform at Berks this year. And coming the last Sunday, which is the last day of the festival, 3:30 p.m., Miller Center for the Arts, you, Eric Marienthal, and the Reading Pops Orchestra. I don't think it gets any better than that.
Yeah, well, it has all my favorite elements. Of course, Eric is a virtuoso alto player and my longtime friend. And then the Reading Pops Orchestra, symphonic music, obviously a big part of my life now. And I've worked with Will Rapp before. He's a real gentleman and a great guy. And so I know this is going to be magical. Plus, I'll have my trio there as well.
Yeah, it is going to be magical. And I think this is the 24th time that the Reading Pops Orchestra has performed at the fest. So they're always a
Mhm.
big hit there. And it's just
Yes.
beautiful. Isn't the sound
Mhm.
great in that room too,
It
David?
sounds, I love the Miller Hall and they have a great, nice big old Steinway. And that always makes me happy too.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure it does. I'm sure it does. So
Yeah.
you've got a lot of things going on. What's coming up for you now?
Um, well, a few things. One thing I did want to talk about is I wrote a piece while I was recovering from my kidney transplant, and it's a cello concerto.
Ah.
And I worked on it for 3 years, and I'm finally ready to. It's ready to make its debut. It's going to be debuted September 26th in Orange County at Soka Auditorium. It's called Resonance and Renewal. It's a cello concerto in three movements for full orchestra and solo cello.
Oh,
And I'll
wow.
be conducting the orchestra. And I have a cello soloist. Her name is Cecilia San. And so we're just now starting to prepare for that because it's still a ways away, but there's a lot of preparation. And I also was just in Europe recording it, in fact, but we still have to put the cello on. There's a lot of editing. And so it'll be a while before that is released to the public. But that's in the works, and it's a major project for me. And anytime I get to work with orchestras, of course,
Mm.
is always great. So I'm excited about that.
That sounds amazing. And speaking of things that you do working with orchestras and larger groups, back in 2008, I think it was, you were at Walt Disney Concert Hall
Oh,
and
yeah.
you got to conduct, what was it, 200 people?
Well, it was a chorus of singers. It was 400
Yes,
singers, actually.
yes,
Beethoven's Ninth Symphony,
yes.
which is crazy to think a jazz guy would do that. But I'm just one of those risk takers. And so they asked me to do it. I said, sure, why not? So I spent a year with a score studying it pretty hard. And in fact, it's a dress rehearsal. We almost got to the end, and then I made this huge mistake, and everyone was freaking out. Maybe I was freaking out, but I was up all night correcting it, and the performance went fine. It was quite a thrill to be having that many singers in a full orchestra at Disney Hall was quite a landmark in my career.
Yeah, yeah. You also are known as one of the founding fathers of contemporary jazz.
Mhm.
Yeah.
There's several others. There's a few others that came before me. Like Dave Grusin and Lee Ritenour and Earl Klugh. But I think especially, and dare I say the word smooth jazz, but
Hmm.
the straight ahead jazz people like to malign it quite a bit. But at that time in '85, when the wave in Los Angeles first started, they programmed myself in the first hour along with Sade, I think Michael Franks, Kenny G, and they were kind of defining this as this new sound of smooth jazz or jazz that's softer. And so I was in the beginning of that particular movement with Frank Cody. It was actually the one that developed it early on. So I take the credit or I take the blame
Yeah.
for at least starting it, and I stand behind it, I guess, because my whole thing is all about melody and rhythm, and so I think music, especially looking at classical music, it's all about the melody, and I've really stuck to that. Even dare I say, some of the modern straight ahead jazz artists have gotten pretty far away from that. It's starting to become more intellectual and more exclusive. And so I've felt that always playing with a lot of melody, a lot of heart, and making it funky too
Yeah, of course.
is good.
Yeah, of course. You're also a radio show host too, aren't you?
I am. I'm on my 14th year, believe it or not. Uh,
Wow.
KJazz Radio. And KJazz actually has gotten moved a lot more straight ahead. So I do, which is good. I get to hear all the young pianists, and they're just all incredibly gifted technicians and brilliant. And so it's fun on that level. And then I have my own show on Saturdays where I talk about jazz piano and play anybody from Robert Glasper to Keiko Matsui. So
Oh,
it's
wow.
a lot of fun. Yeah.
So how do
It's been
we
a fun gig for me.
how do we find you? How do we get to listen to that? Where do we find you?
Very easy. It's KJazz. It's 88.1. So what you're going to do is go to the website, jazzandblues.org, and then you can just stream it on your phone. You can get the app, download the KJazz app, and
Yeah.
just have it anywhere. So
Well,
I
that
come
sounds
on in the
good.
morning on LA time, starting at 8 to 11 every weekday morning.
Oh,
And
wow.
sometimes it's hard to imagine I'm on that much, but I do it at home. So I've got everything all set up here. So it's actually it's pretty easy.
Gotta love you can do that way, right? That's great
I
to
know
do it that
there's
way.
no other way I could do it.
I know, that's really
Yeah.
good. You know, you and I have talked in the past, and one of the things that really sticks out for me with you is the production that you
Mhm.
have on your
Mhm.
albums, CDs, whatever we want to call them. It's just the clarity, the separation. It's just, I feel like you're there in the room when I'm playing it.
Mm.
Address that. You do some interesting things with that, don't you?
Yeah, well, I've always approached it with an audio sense. I had my own studio for many years, and the whole process of recordings fascinated me. And I was lucky enough to early on team up with Alan Sides and Jeff Weber. And a lot of those early recordings were made digital and they were live. So there was no mixing or overdubbing. And so they were all like, just like you were saying, you felt like you were in the room because you almost literally were. I mean, because it all happened all at once. No one overdubbed anything. So the sound is really pure. And that was a sound that like a Freedom at Midnight, for example, which is or K song, two of my more
Hmm.
popular songs were recorded. It was all recorded live. So that element, I think, is what's made my music sound that way. And we've kind of tried to keep. Not that I've made every album live since then. I more and more use the modern technology that's available to us, like Pro Tools. But I've had engineers like Clark Germain and several other great engineers that have really stayed with that
Hmm.
idea of just purity and really, really making it sound as good as it can.
Yeah, well, I so appreciate it. It makes my ears happy and it makes my heart happy. Yeah.
Yeah.
So when
Oh.
you're when you're not performing, when you're not arranging or composing, what do you like to do, David? I guess play tennis, right?
Yeah, I think we touched on that. So playing tennis is one of my hobbies. And I just got an electric bike.
Ah,
So, and we just moved to this little coastal town called Laguna Niguel, California.
okay.
And now I ride my bike down to the harbor and pretty much every other day now. And it's a way I'm trying to stay fit at my age. That's more and more of a challenge. So yeah, bike riding and tennis. I like to cook at home, and otherwise it's always about music. Of course, my wife and I like to dine out, and
Mhm.
we like to travel. but sometimes music for me, like especially when I'm working on the cello concerto, can feel like another hobby because, I have the greater gigs I do, but when I'm exploring classical music and branching out and doing different things, it feels it's really fulfilling for me because it's something that I do on my own. And it's not been a big, not many people are aware of this classical side, but I just love doing it and love it just because it's very cathartic for me in that
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah. Well, we also think of Charlie Brown too when we
Of course.
you too.
And I'm proud to say that the Mendelssohn family commissioned me to do all of that Vince Guaraldi music for symphony orchestra. So they debuted it with the San Francisco Symphony last December. They played all of that music I had arranged. Unfortunately, I couldn't be there, and now the Seattle Symphony is going to be doing it next month, and I can't be there for that one because I'm going to be at Berks. So
And speaking of that, let's just tell everybody once again when that is. It is the last day of the festival. It's Sunday, March 29th. It's 3:30 p.m. The Miller Center for the Arts, you, Eric Marienthal, and the Reading Pops Orchestra. It's going to be fabulous.
in fact, we will be doing one of those charts. I think we're opening the program with "Oh, Good Grief."
Okay.
It'll be a lot of fun.
That sounds really good. Well, thank you so much for taking time today, David. And we look forward to seeing you
Pleasure.
when you come out to Berks.
Great. Me too, Diane. Thank you.
11 exciting days of concerts, jams, and more. Tickets are on sale now. For the latest artist, venue, and scheduling info, and for tickets, visit berksjazzfest.com.